Super Mario 3D World, the game that helped carry the Wii U, has finally been freed from its shackles and is now on Nintendo Switch. About friggin' time if you ask me. So, to celebrate the release of Super Mario 3D World Plus Bowser's Fury, I went along and asked the biggest Super Mario 3D World fan here on YouTube to join me for a ranking video. This person helped me rank what we would both consider the best and worst bosses of this game. If you haven't read the title already, let me present to you guys the homie Thomas from Switch Stop. Give it away, Thomas.
Hey guys, Thomas here. I love Super Mario 3D World and I've made a ton of videos about it over on my channel. Obviously, I'm super stoked for Bowser's Fury and cannot wait for this brand new mode. I think one of the most underrated and creative parts about 3D World is the bosses themselves, so I'm super stoked I get to join Mr. Awesome and rank all these bosses.
So as per every ranking video here on this channel, my name is JuniorAlexanderLeiva, aka Mr. Awesome, along with
Thomas from the Switch Stop, and here's the boss ranking for Super Mario 3D World.
Make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury content. You know, let's try to hit at least 250 likes. I think that's very doable. Also, make sure to tune into Smash Sundays where I challenge every viewer one-on-one, live, here on YouTube. Hope to see you guys there. Before we start this list, we have decided not to include mini bosses like Charging Chuck, since they're honestly not even worth the time to rank, to be honest with you. Kicking off this list is Prince Bully, both red and blue iterations of it, since their fights are sort of similar, just one has fire attacks and the other one doesn't. Prince Bully appears in World 6 and World Castle, and they're reminiscent of Bully from Super Mario 64. Are they the same species? I mean, they look like they are, so I guess so. These fights are ranked the lowest because honestly, it's pretty easy to get through them. All you really have to do is jump or pounce on him and knock him into one of the clear pipes and then kick him around for a bit. Nothing really crazy happening. The most interesting here to happen, at least to me, is the fact you're literally ramming him into a clear pipe and then seeing from which exit he's gonna be spat out from. It's always random. If you enter the pipe he gets kicked in, you're gonna be spat out in a whole different exit than he would.
Next up on this list, we have Pom Pom. First appearing in Super Mario 3D Land, she's definitely amongst the newer Mario bosses. She's a female counterpart to Boom Boom, but can't really live up to the mayhem that Boom Boom is known for. In Super Mario 3D World, she almost has a sort of ninja aesthetic, not only for throwing shurikens, but summoning these sort of ghost clones as well. Despite how cool this sounds in theory, the boss fights against her are super easy, as it's incredibly clear which one of her clones is actually her, and therefore damaging her is a piece of cake. It gets slightly more challenging later on in the game when she spawns in more clones for each boss phase, but overall she's a relatively simple character with a relatively simple fight. Not bad at all, just slightly underwhelming.
Ooh, an original boss. King Kathunk appears in World 5 Castle, and in the boss splits in World Flower. I honestly find the naming of King Kathunk to be interesting since he just seems so ordinary. I mean, look, there's no crown on his head. What makes him a king? But hey, who am I to judge royalty? I'm just a simple man here on YouTube. The king has an interesting way of fighting. He has this blue frame around him, and he just moves around from side to side and crashes to the ground. That has to hurt, no? Cause, if I were to just fall straight forward like that, I'd probably break my nose. After each hit you deal on the king, the arena's corners start to fall off, and the king over here seems to get a little faster and a little bit more difficult to predict his next movement. I honestly find it as a welcome touch. But once you hit him 3 times in his posterior, it's a wrap for the king. Up until the World Flower boss blitz where it's literally the same fight again. And to be honest, I didn't mind it just because this is a good fight, but there's obviously better fights after this, so moving along.
Jumping into number 9, and we have Boom Boom. Boom Boom has been a staple in the Mario franchise forever now, first appearing in Super Mario Bros. 3. In 3D World, his multiple fights are very reminiscent of his 3D Land appearance, but he's learned a couple of new tricks now, which is why he's a bit higher up on this list. Essentially, every time you hit him by jumping on his head, he'll go full Koopa Troopa and start spinning in his shell. However, he actually becomes invisible when spinning this time, which is a first for him. However, in the World 6 variation, he loses his invisibility in order to spawn a second shell as he spins. This variety here is why he's placed a bit higher than Pom Pom, and he's also just a classic boss. Nothing else crazy here, and you kinda know what to expect as soon as you enter the boss arena. It's just a solid, fun fight.
At number 8 is Boss Brolder. This boss gives me Super Mario 64 vibes for some reason. I think it's those eyes. Those eyes seem very Nintendo 64-esque. You get to encounter this boss in World 4, World Castle A, and the Boss Blitz. The Boss Brolder is large. Its body is covered with rocks and crystals, it has glowy enemy eyes, and has lava arms. It's so sad. I can't even hug the enemy. His arms would be too hot, they would burn me. Sad face. I personally like this boss a lot, to the point where I get a good challenge from it. During the fight, he attempts to roll onto you and summons the normal Brolders to attack you. But you have to pick up the little Brolders and toss it at the Boss Brolder. And upon doing this, he gets a little angry and begins to spin around and throw a bunch of flaming rocks in various directions. And at this point, it's all about survival, which I like since it adds a good pace to this fight. But just like any other Mario fight, you clown him 3 times and he is donezo.
Next up is Bowser, specifically in World 1-Castle. This is the first time we've seen Bowser in his car, which I think is just such a cool addition to Bowser's arsenal. I love the way he sits menacingly on top of the car as he slowly drives away, but how is he driving it from back there? Regardless of how Bowser's ride works, the fight itself isn't super duper hard, but it also marks the first time we hear 3D World's rendition of Bowser's theme. This same theme later goes on to be the overworld music for World Bowser, and that's probably one of my favorite songs from 3D World as a whole. Kicking back the soccer bombs from Bowser is a super fun way to damage him, and it's an absolute blast overall. Overall, this is an incredibly creative take on gaming's most famous villain.
Doesn't this boss remind you of Cobrat from Super Mario Bros. 2? I don't know, they look pretty similar if you ask me. For number 6, this boss is Histocrat. But for reasons that will be revealed in the next 5 rankings, we will call him King Histocrat. The solo version of this boss appears in Worlds 3B and Bowser B. Yes, it's another royalty boss, but this boss, I'll be honest with you, is dummy easy with the catsuit. You have to climb your way up to summon snakes and pounce onto the king's head. But if you don't have the catsuit, this boss fight is a bit harder. You have to maneuver your way around the snakes, and it's a bit challenging if you aren't quick on your feet, since the plates you stand on top of the snakes' heads do break, unfortunately. And if they do break, it can cause serious damage to you. All in all, I like this boss just because if you don't have the catsuit, it really does add a whole spin of difficulty. And funny thing, looking back, this boss hyped me up for Super Mario 3D World back in E3 2013, because if you were around the internet, if you were alive even, when Super Mario 3D World first got announced, people didn't like it. And it wasn't until the second trailer of the game came out and this boss was featured where people were like, oh my god, I gotta get this game.
Next up, we have Queen Histocrat, or the pink variation of this game's snake-themed boss. Obviously, Junior already discussed why the main Histocrat boss is so cool, and most of that applies to Queen as well. However, unlike her counterpart, Queen Histocrat makes fire rain down from the sky and actually spits out fire at the same time. These fireballs leave these little lava puddles that damage your character, and the twist is so much more fun and makes the level a fair amount more difficult. Scampering around the entire arena, avoiding snakes and lava is just so much fun, and she edges out King Histocrat just because of that on this list. Also, this applies to the main Histocrat boss as well, but I'd be kicking myself if I forgot to mention the music that plays here. It's this phenomenal big band piece that just oozes charm and personality.
Number 4, Histocrat Boss Blitz. Huh, so this is interesting. Why would we rank both bosses separately just to mash them up together into a whole other rank? Simple really, this is just a whole better fight. You're fighting both Histocrats and you are timed. It takes the best aspects of both fights and mixes them together and adding more chaos and more fun. I love it when bosses are more chaotic, and honestly I have way more energy fighting them. It honestly gets my blood pumping. And to be completely honest with you, I feel like you have to play this boss to understand what I mean, because it's a little hard to put into words how fun this is to me.
Another version of Bowser? Well, this one is just a way cooler version of that car fight from before. It's still one of the most fun fights in this entire game just because of Bowser's pure arsenal of weapons. Not only does he frequently send bombs your way, but fireballs land on the level in front of you and end up creating these little lava pools that make this level 100 times more fun. It's crazy how much a simple change can improve the fun factor of one of these boss fights. On top of that, the absolutely epic atmosphere of this level itself and the fight taking place in the end of World Castle, it just feels like an absolutely epic final showdown between the gang and King Koopa.
So I almost ranked this boss 3 different times throughout this list, but ultimately in the end we chose not to. Motley Boss Blob is a jester who has his large clown transformation, and while I'm not afraid of clowns myself since I am a clown, I have to admit that this clown is a bit creepy. This boss has 3 appearances throughout Super Mario 3D World. He appears in World 6, World Bowser A, and the boss Blitz. Each fight starts with his gesture showing off his tongue, and it's kinda disturbing how he does it. And then he transforms into the large clown. He begins to pounce around trying to kill you, until it smashes so hard onto the ground it dissolves, where you have to attack the small gesture. The second fight is the same concept as the first, but a bit more harder. It's a different gesture, and the transformation this particular gesture has is gold, and each time he pounces, there are shockwaves of energy which make it more difficult to dodge. And then there's the boss Blitz version, where God almighty I began to clench my butt cheeks. Not only is this version harder, but this clown is bigger and you are limited on time, which adds more to the tension. First of all, you're so short on time that you have to beat this really quick. And all in all, it makes this version of the fight the best version there is. It's really good. I always have a blast facing Motley, especially in the boss Blitz. It's so good in fact that I almost placed it at number 1, but we decided it wasn't the number 1 fight in this list. And I think you pretty much know which one's number 1.
So far in this game, we have only ever fought Bowser in his car. So at the start of this fight, most players are probably expecting another standard affair. However, what follows is literally anything but. Bowser gets access to 3D World's main power-up, the Super Bell, and what follows is an absolutely insane chase up a giant tower. What a damn good finale this is. It's more so a giant set piece than an actual fight. Meowzer will jump out and occasionally swipe at the player, cat dive at you, try and ground pound Mario out of existence, and all that stuff. This insanity is only multiplied after hitting the first POW block on Meowzer, as you then see a red glow emerge from the bottom of the screen as you're traveling up a pipe. Couple that with the sound effect and it can only mean one thing. Bowser is grabbed onto another one of the coolest power-ups in this game, that being the double cherry, and before you know it, countless Meowzers are jumping out at you around every corner trying to put a stop on Mario's quest. Just an absolutely insane finale to an incredible game.
I super agree with Switch Stop on this one. This Meowzer fight, I would have to say, is probably one of the best final Bowser fights in Mario history. Even better than whatever this was in Super Mario Odyssey. This entire fight took place on your way up to the tower, but man oh man, this chase is just anxiety-filled fun. My initial run-through, when the game first came out, felt so hard-pounding, especially when Bowser multiplied with the double cherry. Believe it or not, this particular fight harkens back to Mario's first game, Donkey Kong, where, just like there, you have to climb a tower of sorts and beat the boss. Oh, and the way you just finish off Bowser while he and his clones are trying to collectively clown you is just poster worthy. Look at this. Amazing. Thanks for watching this collaboration ranking.
Let us know your favorite Super Mario 3D World boss down in the comments below.
Shoutouts to Thomas from Switch Stop for joining me for this collaboration video. It was an honor, my boy. I can't wait to collab again. Haha, just kidding. We made another collab video over at his channel. Make sure to check it out and subscribe to SwitchTop. And go on the comment section and say Mr. Awesome sent me here. We can rep the Awesome Nation over at the SwitchTop channel. Make sure to subscribe to SwitchTop and myself for more Super Mario 3D World videos, because we both obviously did Road to Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser Fury.
Once again, thank you so much for having me on here, my guy. Absolute blast cranking out these rankings with you. With that out of the way, thank you guys all so much for watching. Peace.
And as always, shout outs to my Mr. Awesome members for financially supporting the channel monthly. You guys put that pizza on my pepperoni. Look at those rather good looking individuals rocking the Mr. Awesome merch on screen. You guys represent the best of the best here at the Awesome Nation, looking all nice and stuff. Buy your very own Mr. Awesome merch. There's exclusive Loogie merch, by the way. This is the shirt itself. Make sure to buy your very own because it is limited time, so it's gonna run out. In fact, it runs out March 31st, Mario's last day of living, so make sure to get one before the time's up. And as always, stay golden.